What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Play the Fight Song College Football Show. Week 9 is here. It's already winding down in the college football season. Things are starting to take picture, but we're still a little lost. That's how college football has been this year. You are part of the Week 9 preview here at Play the Fight Song. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video. We appreciate you joining us more than you know. I'm joined alongside my week-to-week co-hosts Jake, Reese, and JP. The boys are all back. We only had 3 last week. Jake was out traveling on a little vacation/football trip, went to Iowa State, Colorado 2 weeks ago, and then just stayed in Colorado, enjoyed the beautiful mountain scenes. Jake, how was that trip? What was the fulsome experience like?
Yeah, good to be back. I've been besides the game. No, the game was fine. I said on my Iowa State show the other night, I did think I needed another vacation from that football game itself. So I was glad to get up in the mountain town after Saturday's game and just not see people and just be like, yeah, it's all right. Sometimes things are bigger than football, but in the heat of the moment, of course, when you drive 8 hours, Parks, you just want to see your team win. And when they don't, it's a little frustrating sometimes, especially when all respect for Colorado. Thought Iowa State was the better team, just didn't play well that Saturday. So it is what it is. And I missed getting my voice out here and talking college football. So I am glad to be back.
The longtime listeners of this show know that there has been some moments of the show that we have negatively talked about Salter. He kind of played extremely well in front of you to really get to you.
He was Liberty Salter. He was Liberty Salter.
I tweeted it out and I said, hats off to him. Iowa State dared him and he played awesome. And then the PFF thing came out that he was the highest graded quarterback a week ago. So I felt validified that the stats pointed towards he played really well. It's kind of funny. Draylon Miller, the receiver for them, he had that big score to start the second half, and we're out tailgating after the game, having a couple of, win or lose, still booze. And it was kind of where the players parked. So he's walking out with his family, and most people would probably say something mean or nasty. And I just said, that guy cooked us today. It pisses me off. He cooked us. He just gave a smile and walked away. But yeah, that was kind of funny.
It's got to be. I remember when we were kids and we'd line up, post game, you line up, you wait for the players. There was that area, everybody has that stadium area where the players would come out and see their families. Now it's when they're getting in their cars, they're getting in these G-Wagons or Lamborghinis, and you're like, what is this? It's more of that pro style athlete now, or these a lot
big
of Nebraska
trucks,
guys,
big trucks. That was Colorado too.
Up F-150s, all.
You had a Rolls Royce last year. You were rolling on a Rolls Royce, man.
Yeah, remember when he got booted for parking tickets? They booted his car. God, college football in 2025 is just a weird experience. JP, how you doing? You're awfully quiet over there.
I feel like I'm behind. I'm trying to get the Wi-Fi to rate with. So battling a little bit over here. I'm not trying to blow up the show by just being poor on the Wi-Fi.
All right, fair enough. Well, hopefully you can get that figured out. It does look a little pixelated on my end. Let us know in the comments if you think JP looks like he's on Android. But we are excited. We got a big time show tonight, Reese. We briefly talked to you. Been traveling around, bouncing between the Midwest. How was last weekend with JP? Spending that time.
It was good. Me and JP, we did some trivia, random Thursday night, ended up getting third.
What was the trivia on?
It was just general stuff. There was if JP hops back in, you hear the question. It was what's this? What's the river in London or whatever? And I was dead set on it being the Thames River. And he's like, there's no way it's that. Turned it in. It was right. I walked to the bathroom and I go, suck it, JP. But so he doesn't know I know more than him. But it was a good time. We watched much football on Saturday. We watched JP. When Iowa, I think it was the play that sealed the game where Gronowski did a fake handoff bootleg just to run around. JP thought that was the greatest play call in the history of play calls. He's like, Tim back, dial it up. I go, JP, he faked a handoff and he ran around. But he's like, we won. And I was like, hey, good one, boys. But I was like, JP was like, let's calm down. But it was Gronowski did a fake handoff. I'm pretty sure I've seen Peyton Manning do the same play.
I think we're in for a good. We're going to do the show a little bit different tonight. We still have our 3 main previews and, of course, our G5 game of the week. But then we're going to kind of talk about JP described it as a roundtable. I'm not sure what topics he wants to go through. I think it's just mostly within our fan perspectives and fan bases of Iowa State, Iowa, and Nebraska. A lot's been going on between those three on X and various platforms. But I'll be intrigued to hear what he wants to talk about if we can get his signal back But yeah, I'm glad somebody was there with JP. It's a good win for Iowa. They won 25-24. Maybe we'll get a chance to recap that one later on our roundtable side. But we want to remind you, tonight's show is presented by a couple of great partners. Jake, if you could do me a favor, throw that QR code up on the screen. Our great partner over at FrostBuddy, frostbuddy.com/PTFS to keep your drinks cold all season long. Check out the Universal Can Cooler. Got a bunch of branded teams. What do you got, Jake? Did you use one this weekend?
I did not know. Sorry, I was just pointing at the QR code for the people that use it.
Above you. Okay, I thought you were raising your hand. But no, keep your drinks cold all season long. They got an awesome new line of Universal Can Coolers, different designs, a blackout design for all your teams. So check them out, frostbuddy.com/PTFS today. Scan that QR code. It'll take you right to the link. Shout out FrostBuddy. All right, gents, let's go into the Week 8 preview. Week 8 recap quickly before we go into the Week 9 preview. Week 8, a lot of things happened. Starting on Friday night, there was a couple of crazy games, crazy upsets. Shouldn't say crazy on one side of them, but the other one was crazy. Any takeaways from the weekend? Your biggest takeaway from college football in Week 8, Jake?
I guess I have two. One is more of a shout out, but one of the takeaways, and it's more so like listening to podcasts this week, is now we have officially entered the every game is a playoff eliminator topic. And I'm already just very tiresome of it. And some of it's pretty crazy. Like, we're going to get to some of these SEC games, and there's a lot of one-loss SEC teams out there. And the narrative behind if they lose and, have 2 losses to their name, that they're automatically out of the playoff. And I'm just like, do you guys know who's on the committee? Like, do you know who's picking these teams? Like, a 2-loss SEC team will be just fine for the most part. But I know we need to make every game feel like it's the last for these fan bases, like it's a win or die situation. I get it. Builds up a little more hype, but let's not put lipstick on a pig here. Let's not fake it. A lot of these aren't actually playoff contending or playoff eliminating games. Oh,
Muted, buddy.
Up.
Come
Got
on,
him.
that can't happen. This is the time of year where you see those consistent, like, eliminated graphics. Like, it's just a big ass blown up picture of some team that lost by 3 on a game winning field goal. They're like, yep, done, over with. Like, unless you're in Penn State's boat, you're probably still floating around the way college football's gone this year. Reese, your Week 8 takeaway.
My simple thing is just stay healthy. Like, we saw what happened in Texas Tech when you don't have your quarterback. Like, you go lose a football game that if Morin's in that game, I mean, Hammond still did well. Like, if Morin's in that game, they're a different team. We've seen them so far. It's like, dudes, you got to stay healthy. We saw what the committee did to Florida State a couple years ago. Granted, that was when there was just the 4 in there or whatever. But, like, now it's a 12-team playoffs. Like, things get weird. It's like, if you lose a quarterback, how does your team really be affected? Like, if you don't have him for the playoff, how different is his team? Like, are they really going to keep out, a 1-loss or 2-loss SEC team because of no quarterback? Like, dudes need to stay healthy. Like, they talk about that whole load management thing, but, like, it's a very real thing with, like, the college landscape that we're in right now, where, like, if a guy goes out, especially he's your quarterback, he's your top DB, he's top lineman, whatever, like, it can seriously impact your football team and your ability to win a game, because we see how different games are week in and week out, and, like, dudes just got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
They control injuries, but you got to stay healthy.
We're reaching that point of the season where they're killing teams. Injuries are killing teams. There's depleted rosters. I mean, Iowa State,
Memphis,
they've had how many injuries, Jake? And
we don't have
other
a kicker.
teams are dealing with the same injury bug. Yeah, Conradi's been out for quite some time. Is he supposed to be back this week, Jake?
Supposed to be. We might talk about it later. Yeah, I think he's trending towards playing, is what Campbell says. So God knows what that means.
Yeah, Lord knows. And then they do have to release it, I believe, the day of the game or the day before.
The first injury report's tonight.
Okay, and that's where you get a lot of the probables.
Yeah.
And then we'll find out come Saturday when the games actually happen. My biggest takeaway for Week 8, mine was more individually towards the team, but boys, we kind of saw a bit of a fallback in the old style of Carson Beck. And what happened in a few games at Georgia where the interception bug got him. He kind of made those reads. Louisville made some plays. Let me be very clear. That was a very Jeff Brom style win. But for Louisville and their talent and the trenches matchup of that game, for Miami to go in and lose, even with 4 interceptions, was a generalized shocker. And I guess my basis point off of that is I'm losing interest in the ACC this year, gentlemen. Like, I have more excitement for whoever comes out of the Big 12 when it comes to the playoff later in the year than I do whoever wins the ACC, because even the beginning of that Duke-Georgia Tech game was ugly. kind of back and forth. Jake, you were sending some texts about how Georgia Tech, like, are we going to be serious about this team? And then they ended up, covering the number and winning pretty easily. But like, is the ACC for you guys really floating your boat at this point in the season?
I'm intrigued to see what Georgia Tech, to see how long they can keep running the table. I think that might be the most interesting thing for me.
Week 12?
Yeah, can they run the table and then take on Georgia as an undefeated team? I think for me that would be really fascinating. And they just keep winning games. Like, it's a completely different thing than what SMU was last year, even a little bit, I think. Like, this is just a well-coached, like, this doesn't feel like a fluke. And I don't even really have the evidence to back that statement up, but it just feels like Georgia Tech goes out there and just wins football games compared to where, like, SMU kind of had the ball bounce their way in a few games last year. Like, the Duke game where Duke, they turned it over 5 times and lost to Duke. Whereas, like, Georgia Tech, we just keep underestimating them. They're a 1.5 point underdog on the road as an undefeated team at Duke. It's not even a home field advantage. I fell for it. JP fell for it. We took the principal play, and Georgia Tech goes out there and wins the game decently convincingly. So they're interesting to follow. I think Miami will get in the playoff, no doubt. The Georgia Tech Louisville lot, like, that storyline is a little fascinating, and maybe Virginia, but Virginia feels fluky.
Yeah, Virginia, that was hilarious. Their coach showing up 25 minutes late to a press conference this week, and you could tell he was just exhausted from screaming. Hey, the Hoosier, they're back a little bit. I mean, that team was a dog walker last year, and now they're competing within the conference, and a win's a win if you're at that point in the season. JP, you're back. Looks like you changed up the studio. Week 8 recap or takeaway?
I can preview the earful the Wi-Fi network's about to get after this. But I'm going to say nobody's safe. Like we talked about last week, I put it in the doc as the title. Nobody's safe in a game, any week, any conference at this point in time. You really got to bring your A game every single week, no matter whether you're, number 2 in the country like Miami was last week, or you're 2 in Memphis, who feels like they're in the driver's seat of the American. You'll lose even with a quarterback that goes out. You'll lose on the road to a team with an interim head coach. Nobody's safe, and you really don't know. And also, the other thing I have, we continue to see teams evolve. The team you saw in week 0, team you saw in week 1, team you saw in week 2 is not the same team you're seeing in week 7, 8, 9 down the road. So teams are changing. You got to take a team for what it is and what they've been lately, rather than you take the body of work and like the results, like, because the games matter, but you have to see it from what they've been lately.
I would agree with that 100%. All right, that's week 8. Briefly, it's already time for week 9, gents. It's Wednesday. We got the games coming up this weekend. There's a lot of really good matchups. We kind of refocused the show this week to preview games that maybe aren't getting as much national coverage as they should be, or games that you would like to hear people talk about, but the other games are getting too much coverage. And those 3 games are going to start with Mizzou and Vanderbilt, Houston, Arizona State, and our marquee matchup of the week will be Illinois and Washington within the Big Ten. And the G5 game of the week is, we're not going to tell you until that time comes. But we want to remind you to smash the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video. Follow us on all platforms at Play the Fight Pod. If you don't already, that's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. Find them all. Hit the follow button on those. We got consistent content going out on every platform. Appreciate you in advance for doing so. All right, let's go into the week 9 previews. Let's talk about these games. Let's kick it off within the SEC. Let's talk Mizzou and Vandy. This line stands at 2.5 in favor of the Doors, coming off a big win against LSU, and Mizzou coming off their double overtime win against War Eagle in a tough road environment and a hard-fought game. Drinkwitz's crew got a good win, and it led up to this, a game where Vanderbilt's back in the national spotlight after that win last week. And where do you see this game as? And break it down for us, Jake.
Yeah, this goes back to my topic of, is this one a playoff eliminator? I say no. Like, I don't mean to diminish the value of this game. I think both teams can still run the table and get in, but this one really can really catapult you into maybe an SEC title if that's their goal for some of these programs, or just, it probably increases your chances of making the playoff by 10%. I would have to guess, at least, if you win this football game, just based on what the schedules present for both of these teams kind of going forward. The win versus LSU from Vandy felt like it really cemented for me that they're a legitimate SEC contender. I was just a little slower to the party I know some people were really, really bullish on this team, and good for you for being there first. But for me, I just wanted to see you as a 1.5, 2.5 point favorite get it done and beat an LSU team who, recruits at a higher level than you. But at least it feels like Vandy is the better football team up until this point. It's a battle of two really good run defenses with two great rush offenses. And now Ahmad Hardy's had kind of a slower last two games, but I still feel like he is the best running back in the SEC. And Alexander for Vanderbilt's really good too. The thing for me is Vanderbilt's played some poor rush teams offensively, but they do rank top 12. So I think up until this point, we've crossed the halfway point of the season, and they've kind of solidified themselves too, as they can defend the run. Like, are they going to continue to have the success, or is Ahmad Hardy going to finally get back on track? I don't even think it really relies on Ahmad Hardy, guys. I think it relies on Bo Prabula. I think he's got to have the ability to extend more plays to give a little bit of cushion for the run game and for Ahmad Hardy. I actually still think Missouri's defense, though, is one of the best in college football. They just don't create a lot of turnovers. So it's going to be absolutely fascinating. The last thing for me would be, does Diego Pavia's experience just become the deciding factor for this game? Like, he's the guy on the field with the biggest chip on his shoulder. You just keep doubting him at this point. He's going to continue to win football games, and he has a really big task in Missouri's defense. I'm fascinated. I tweeted this today. I don't know if you guys saw this. I said I'm going to do one of two things this week, or I guess I'm not going to do two things this week. I'm not going to doubt Vandy, and I'm not going to trust LSU again. But I'm either going to pick LSU to win at home, or I'm going to finally pick Vandy. It's not going to be both, but I don't know. Give me 2 minutes. You guys talk so I can maybe pick who I got in this one.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the matchup of the rush defenses and how good both of them have been. And not only that, but the opponents that Vanderbilt's faced with that rush defense and where those numbers are and how they're a little bit probably inflated. I think the matchup to watch in this game is Vanderbilt's front seven on the defensive side of the ball against Missouri and what they want to do. Because Bo Pribula, that's where he is really at his best and when he can extend plays and run the football. And Vanderbilt really hasn't faced a guy who's been as consistently good as he has been this entire season. So I think it's going to come down to Vanderbilt's front seven on the defensive side of the ball. You saw kind of the recipe last week from Auburn on slowing that Mizzou offense down a little bit. So I think that benefits the Doors in this one. You get to watch on film what they did to slow that offense down. They ran it 40 times last week. That's Missouri. They ran it 40 times last week and only broke down to 2.1 yards per carry. That's exactly what Vanderbilt has to force this offense into. Another point is Missouri's really done a good job of keeping teams off the field. An offense like Diego Pavia been rolling, high flying, damn near 40 points a game. Missouri's dominated time of possession because they've run the ball so well. So it's kind of bing, bang, boom to where if you stop the run at the beginning of the game and really get them out of sorts, you're going to get the ball back into Diego Pavia's hands on home field. You're going to put yourself in a really good spot. And you got to get off the field on third down because even last week, Missouri was good on third down, and that's why they've dominated time of possession. So limiting the run, getting off the field on third down is going to lead to a lot of good for Vanderbilt and what they want to do. And I think I'm kind of done on Diego Pavia and the doubt as well, Jake. So I think you kind of broke it down perfectly. JP?
I would say it's a little unfair to say. I mean, it's fair to say because that's what's happened with Hardy being less than 60 yards in the last two games rushing. He's played Alabama's defense. He's played Auburn's defense. Both of them ranked within the top 15 against the run. Vanderbilt's been pretty good to themselves, averaging or giving up 3.4 yards a carry, 26 in the country. I will say that it's a good Vandy defense. They've been really physical, and that's kind of a big reason they got LSU last week was just the more physicality along the offensive defensive line. There's got to be a world in which the run game comes back a little bit for Missouri and Prabula is able to get the ball out to guys like Brett Orfleet, Marquise Johnson. Like there are pieces there to hit, and the big play is there. Flip it the other way. You have to slow down the big plays if you're Missouri. There cannot be a random pop of a run of 45, 50 yards. There can't be a play where Pavia gets out of the pocket, makes a big play through the air to Stowers or whoever else because they live on the big play. But they also on the last. They hit a couple against LSU, but it was sustained drives. It was a really good run game. It was decisions that were made by Pavia to not turn it over, whereas in the Alabama game, turnovers happen. So you can't predict those. But if Vandy's not turning it over, they continually sustain drives and they'll pop you for a couple big ones. So pay attention on there. I also want to see with the defensive front that Missouri has, are we able to get after Pavia and really get him out of the pocket? Because that's kind of where he makes his money and makes his plays happen. But are we able to almost keep him in the pocket? It's a contained rush to make him beat you through the air. That's a possibility here as well.
All right, Reese, final thoughts before we go to picks on this SEC matchup.
Say JP mentioned we were watching the game with him last week, but like the Vanderbilt offense put up 31 on an LSU defense who like that's what's keeping them in football games. Like LSU is like Oklahoma. Like it's just that defense is kind of keeping them around. Like it's no joke. Like it's a well-rounded offense. So it's going to be up to Missouri's defense, I think, to try to get takeaways. Like you just saw, like JP just said, you can't plan takeaways, things like that, but they got to limit Pavia, especially if he's going to get creative with his legs. Stowers got to cover him. Like this Missouri defense is solid. But this Vanderbilt offense or defense is extremely solid too. You talk about a Hardy in the ground game. This Vanderbilt defense, they're also only giving up 90 yards a game on the ground too. So if Pavia is able to get his legs going and get creative and eat up clock, and Fabula struggles to throw the football, that's where I think that's where Missouri tries to go throw the football, because that's where Vanderbilt is a little weaker in their secondary. Their front seven is very solid, but I think the secondary is where Fabula can have some spots. But I just think this one is a spot too where it's like, dude, Vanderbilt's a 2.5 point favorite at home against another SEC team. Like, let's just ride Vanderbilt because they prove us wrong until you don't, boys.
I like that. Let's go to your picks and let's let you lead it off. So you're taking Vandy against the spread, and what do you think the difference maker is going to be, Reese?
Give me Vandy the points. I just think, like, I'm just looking this up, but like the stats for this Vanderbilt defense, I think going in there, you had Nussmeier last week. Nussmeier is still one of the top quarterbacks in this country. It's just that offensive line has struggled, and they have zero run game, which is why I think Vanderbilt was able to kind of handle in that way, and like where the secondary, the stats are just a little worse. But I think the difference in this one is just going to be Vanderbilt's defense. We're going to talk about Pavia all the time. But I think Vanderbilt's defense is going to be able to limit Pupula and Hardy running the football and be able to keep Pavia and them on the field a little longer.
I like that. I like the development of Nashville becoming somewhat of an atmosphere for the Commodores, and what Clark Lee has built at this program. They're slowly building, and I shouldn't even say slowly building. We're talking about a ranked Vanderbilt team in week 9 of a season, which is just unheard of territory for where that program is. And they're in the Play the Fight Song top 10 as well. So I like the Doors in this one too. I think they cover the number. They take down Missouri. Missouri's a little bit battle tested later in games, but that game was close last week. And that was a talented LSU team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And you saw Vanderbilt have some offensive success, like Reese mentioned. I think they get it done again this week. I think that chip on the shoulder is just too big for Diego Pavia and company, and they can limit the run enough and get enough done on the offense side of the ball to win this football game. So I like Vanderbilt to cover the number, win the game at home. Jake.
It's scary how similar these teams are. Like just the one loss that each of them had were against Alabama. Now Vanderbilt's was on the road in Tuscaloosa, but turnovers really cost them in that loss. And that's a team that doesn't turn the ball over too much. And an interception on the last drive versus Alabama lost the game for Missouri. So it's just kind of crazy how this one could really go either way. And I feel like, a turnover or two late in the second half is just going to be the deciding factor in this one. But I just told you, I'm not doubting Vandy anymore. So I will take the Doors at home. Yeah. Small number. I'll take it. Maybe that tells you where I'm going with the LSU game, but yeah, I will take Vanderbilt.
All right. 3 on Vandy. JP, you going to complete the clean sweep, or are you going with the Tigers?
Vandy.
Our clean sweep hasn't been terrible. Last week,
last week we didn't.
We're 1-1, 1-1. JMU, all on JMU.
JMU,
great pick.
JMU, that was easy.
Great pick squad.
JMU was easy. Then UNLV was not.
UNLV felt right side, but they just one stop.
Couldn't stop a runny nose. Yeah,
one stop.
We need to stop.
50 points, boys.
Yeah, it can't happen. No, that was Mullen's group had a rough week on the defensive side of the ball, to say the least. But unanimous pick to start tonight's show, all on the Doors. Should be a hell of a matchup in the SEC. Make sure you tune into that one. Clean sweep to start. Let's go to a game that probably won't have a clean sweep. Let's go to Houston and Arizona State. Let's head to the Big 12. Arizona State obviously coming off a massive win against a top 10 team in Texas Tech. Houston just been that team that's kind of hanging around, still has a decent record, has some talent on the field. Jake, the rest of the college football world probably hasn't been following Houston as in-depth as a Big 12 fan. Tell us about this game and this team and why we should be watching it.
Well, the record speaks for itself, and I can't say, as a Big 12 fan, I've watched him a ton. Now I've watched him against Colorado and late Oregon State was kind of the most I've really seen from this
great
group.
9:00 team slot.
It is a fun late night or Friday night team to watch, but this team is their opponents, I should say, are 12-24 combined in their FBS wins that they've beat. So, and they almost lost to an Oregon State team.
Where'd JP go? We're talking about opponents' records, and he slips out just at the right time. That could be another conversation. Go ahead.
He loves doing it. He just wants to avoid the conversation. I think that's it. So, what do we see? I know a lot of Big 12 experts think that Houston's pretty fraudulent, and we'll have to see, man. Like, I don't think Arizona State is a team that's just going to walk out there and dog all over this team. Arizona State's kind of played with their food many a times this year, and sometimes they've been able to overcome them, and sometimes they quite frankly they haven't. So we'll see. Like, you're going to get Connor Wegman, and you're not going to get a Will Hammond. So you're going to get the full starter out of Houston, and I expect Arizona State to try to put a ton of pressure on Wigman and dare him to beat him. Now, Wigman's solid with his legs. He's not quick, but he can use his legs better than people kind of think when they just
100%.
look at Connor Wegman. But Arizona State's like top 10 in sacks. So I think Arizona State needs to get on him early. If you guys saw today on Twitter, Jordan Tyson is officially out. I think that, did I say something or what?
No, you just said the word sack. I got a little PTSD from last week. Keep going.
Yeah. So Jordan Tyson's out. I think it's another strategic play to make sure he's good to go against Iowa State, like they held back Leavitt against Utah when Tech came to town. But Arizona State's top 5 in time of possession. So if you're Willie Fritz, have the defense come prepared. Arizona State's been kind of slow to start games. Get this thing ugly, low scoring in the first half, and don't let Arizona State get on top of you early and then kind of just sit on the ball, because they can run the football with Raleek Brown in that group. So it's really fascinating to see. And I would just like to see if Arizona State can play 4 straight solid quarters of football, because they haven't shown that to me yet.
Yeah, they haven't. And I think a part of it's due towards a little bit of the depth of the roster this year. I think you had a guy like Cam Scatterbo to lean your hat on a few times last year, and that was beneficial, obviously. But you saw how different this Arizona State team was without Sam Leavitt. I mean, it was abysmal how bad this offense ran. And exactly with how you just said with Jordan Tyson, the way he came in and played last week, kind of battling an injury, was one of the better stories in college football. And with him being expectedly out this week, obviously that's a big time loss, because I feel like a side benefit you get from a young coach like Kenny Dillingham and what he wants to do is he doesn't give a shit if you're going to throw 3 guys on Jordan Tyson. Like, they're still going to scheme up a way to get their best players the ball in their best players' hands. And with him out, it's a gigantic loss. So we'll kind of see what Arizona State wants to do. I think for that reason, it could be a lower scoring game if you're a Sun Devil fan, and that could create maybe a battle. I would feel a lot better about the upset bid if you're Houston, if you get this one at home. But with this fan base, with Leavitt in the mix and how he can run the football, granted, that's at full health, I think you got to give the matchup edge. And obviously the 7.5 points is nothing to blink at. They're thinking 2 scores, and it could probably get down to 7. But Houston's got their hands full with what Arizona State wants to do at home. And I think you're right. They're going to get after Wegman a little bit, because we saw back in his A&M days and some of the struggles at Houston. If he gets hit a few times, that Houston offense becomes stagnant in what they want to do. Reese?
I'll say, yeah, you're looking at all the stats. This Houston team defensively, they're looking solid. They're only giving up 19 a game, 193 in the air, and like 120 something on the ground. So, like, those stats don't lie. Granted, yes, it is kind of the eye test. Like, who have they played when Texas Tech did come to town? They did handle them. They gave up 35 and offensively they put up 11. So here's kind of your second true eye test. But Tyson being out is huge, I think, too. Because if you're looking for a boost like Sam Leavitt, like, you got to be creative. You got to find other guys, because I mean, we saw in South Dakota, like when we were in that sports book, like, he is looking for him and only him. So you got to find ways to get other guys involved, use those legs, be creative. But you can't be afraid to, like, let that thing go. Just like, you still are the good quarterback. You are, because of the balls you're throwing to the guys you have. You just can't, be floating over the middle and give this Houston offense extra opportunities, because like you talk about Arizona State's top 5 in time of possession. Houston, Willie Fritz, Connor Wegman, Dean Connors, a hell of a running back. Like, And you talk about Wegman's not fantastically, but he's a nice, accent to kind of Connors when he gets going too. So if they're able to get the road going, and then they have one of the sneaky best tight ends in Kojo, who's got 36 grabs in the air already too. So like that's the guy you got to worry about covering on third and longs or just third downs in general. So it's a spot where it's this eye test is huge. Let's see what Arizona State is able to do without Tyson, and let's see like if you're going to get as many points, like who the hell knows? Willie Fritz, like this team was bowl eligible already. I didn't think this team would be bowl eligible by now, and here they are. So, I mean, why not prove me wrong here? If Wegman can go be the guy he was at A&M for a little bit. So
listen to this stat. I didn't realize it was this staggering. Clearly you watch the games and you're like, yeah, he throws to Tyson every time. No, he actually throws to Tyson every time. Tyson's got 57 catches this year. There's not another receiver with more than 10. Their second leading receiver is Raleek Brown, their running back.
No joke.
Third leading receiver is the tight end, Mateer. It is like, who are you going to throw to? Now, Iowa State fan here. I thought that was going to be the end of the world last year. And Xavier Guillory, I think was his name, came out and had 2 scores, 150 yards. They had Cam Scatterbo, granted, much easier to say back there in Dallas last year. But I guess we've doubted them before without Jordan Tyson, and they've found ways to do it.
I don't know a better way to phrase it, so kids cover your ears, but like it is getting near that. Fuck it, Jordan Tyson's down there somewhere. Yeah. Like that is this Arizona State offense and where they found success consistently all year long. They are nearing that territory. But all right, let's go to picks in this game. Houston, Arizona State, 7.5 in favor of the Forks. Do you feel good about the hook? Do you feel bad about it? You can decide with the baby blue in Houston. Jake, what are you thinking?
Well, I got to ask you this as we're recording this Wednesday night. Are we going to do 7.5? Or it's down to 7 now. Like when we put the ATS board out there, what are you giving me? Because numbers matter here.
Whatever it's at right now.
Look at this. We're bringing in Mike Pereira with the bad Wi-Fi. Mike, are we getting 7 or 7.5?
Still can't hear
we don't know. Thanks, Mike.
Is he saying?
Go to our rules expert.
Oh, sorry.
Me off.
Yeah, that's my bad. This is bad production here.
What's going on here?
We're all human. He's still there.
9. Let's figure this out. All right, here we go. Let's go 7. We'll say 7. Let's say JP's a nice guy. See if he can figure that one out.
Oh, okay.
We'll say 7.
JP is saying 7.
Okay,
6,
JP's
7.
on 7.
6,
what do you think? No. Give us your pick, Jake.
I think we're clipping this one for YouTube too. So I can't wait to put this one
sure
out
are.
there. This is a real college football show where we have serious takes around here, guys.
Yeah.
Give me Houston still. I fine. Even if you're going to give me 7, I don't even know why I asked. I'll take 7. And we pushed twice this year on the ATS board, and I think one of them was an Arizona State game. So I could see a push here. And in Arizona or Houston scoring late to lose 24-17 or something like that. Total is super low. It's like 46.5.
Yeah, I talked about it earlier, the Carson Beck, October, November plays that really killed Georgia, and they kind of carried over to Miami this past week. I feel Wegman kind of fits that category on a lesser. I think he kind of got booted out a little early from Gig'em, and the majority of that kind of happens a lot at that place. So I don't want to put as much as I did on Carson Beck, but it feels that way to me. Like I feel like Wegman's going to make a few mistakes in this game after he gets hit a few times, and that will be the difference maker. I like ASU. With the 7.5, I'd even probably take that too. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to be 10, 14-point win for them at home. I think that crowd's kind of really getting back behind this team, realizing the chance they have after last week. And you're going to get a rowdy group for the Forks. So I like Arizona State to cover the number here against Houston. Reese.
Yeah, this is just out of puzzle for me. I talked so much shit on BYU last week, and they haven't played anybody. So like now it's who has Houston played, but you're going to give me 7 on the road and a team that is bowl eligible already, and Arizona State's missing their top guy who Shaper just listed off how many targets that guy has, catches he has. I think Sam Levitt might just have an issue, and I think Wegman in this offense will be able to stick around and maybe get on him early, and Arizona State's got to play catch-up. So I'll take the Cougs on the road plus the 7.
Cougs.
All right. That's fair. 2 on Houston, 1 on Arizona State. JP, drop your pick in the chat, in the private chat, to let us know who you're taking so we can announce it. Looks like he's taking Houston. JP is on Houston as well.
Let's go, JP.
All right.
Let's
go.
So
on Houston, I'll be the Lone Ranger on the Forks. I'm fine with that. I just think this team's got an edge again, and they could make a run at this thing again if they can get back healthy. So maybe Jordan Tyson pulls one out, put the needle in his leg. All of a sudden, everybody's second guessing themselves. No repicks on this show. So 1 on Arizona State, 3 on Houston. That's going to be a hell of a Big 12 battle. Make sure you tune into that one. Let's go to our marquee matchup. Our matchup of the week goes to Illinois and Washington. Let's head to the Big Ten. Let's head to Seattle. Let's talk about these two teams. It's been a while since we talked about these two teams. Well, Washington's coming off a tough loss against Michigan on Big Noon kickoff. They were in that game for a while. It was a hell of a battle. Illinois coming off a bye, to my knowledge, I believe. Illinois coming off a bye. Big time match this week.
Ohio State week before.
Going to be a hell of an atmosphere. Washington needs this one. It feels like for the program, you need this one with the way they've lost the last couple. Let's break this one down from the top. Reese, why don't you do it for us?
Yeah, I think for this one, it's all eyes on Damon Williams. Like you talked about that loss they had last week against Michigan. And yeah, it's just they were in it, and then all of a sudden they weren't with a couple bad mistakes that he made too. So now it's you get this game at home, a chance to bounce back against a good Illinois team. This defense will travel. But yeah, you talk about this secondary for Illinois hasn't looked that great. They're getting up 240 yards in the air, which is primarily their weakness. They're getting up 130 on the ground. So I think Washington kind of sees that. How do you kind of attack that and get Damon going early? Because there's also a place we always talk about, like Husky Stadium. It's one of the tougher ones to play. And like it's going to get loud in there. But the issue is Luke Altmaier is an experienced quarterback. He's been in college football for a while, and this guy just doesn't turn the ball over either. He's played 2 of the best defenses probably in the country so far in Indiana and Ohio State. He's got 13 touchdowns and only 1 interception too. So like he just doesn't turn the ball over. So as long as he doesn't do that and give Washington extra opportunities and let Fish on offense to kind of figure their things out, get themselves going a little more, I think Illinois can go in there in this spot and have a chance to win this football game. And just because also this is a Brett Bielema coach football team too, where they had their 2 losses against 2 of the top teams in the Big Ten. And then Washington also just they got shut out or they didn't play well against Michigan. And then Ohio State came to town to kind of handle them too. So they played 2 of the top 3 defenses, top 4 defenses in the Big Ten. So now it's a chance for like kind of even playing ground. Like this Illinois defense also, I was looking up their stats. They're just very middle of college football. Like they're 74th in overall defense. So like it's a very middle of the pack chance for Damon to maybe go in there and try to make some noise. But I think, again, Illinois in this spot, chance to go in there and make some noise. I think if you're them, you have to have this spot. I think they're more of a contender, I think, when it comes to the end of the year versus this Washington team.
Yeah, this Washington team's got a couple of slip-ups on their record for sure, where it felt like they were in those games, and one of those games being last week, like you mentioned, Reese. But on the flip side, I've seen and been a part of, I guess I should say personally victimized by how good and how well Brett Bielema could scheme up a game on the road in a tough environment, which really fits this narrative, in my opinion. But on the flip side of things, what Damon Williams has done at Washington and the ability of him as a young quarterback has kind of gone under the radar in college football. And that's why I'm glad they played on Big Noon last week, because he kind of saw bits and flashes of it, but he's been better than what he was against Michigan throughout the season. Not only that, but Jonah Coleman, obviously, been one of the better backs. JP always gives Jonah Coleman his flowers when it comes to Big Ten running backs for good reason. So I like Washington being at home in this spot. I still think their crowd's going to be behind them against an Illinois team who's still ranked in the Play the Fights on rankings. They're up there, and as they should be. It's a talented football team. They have a win against a good USC team the last time we've seen them play. So they got their confidence back after the Signetti blasting, which just feels like it's due once a year. But I think this game's going to come down to, can Illinois limit the run game of Damon Williams extending the plays, as well as Jonah Coleman, and what Washington wants to do. And if they can do that and force maybe just one turnover on the road, you got to feel like Bielema can have an offensive plan with an experienced quarterback like Luke Altmaier that's come to fruition and really benefited this Illinois offense consistently throughout the year. They're going to put themselves in a really good spot. And I've rode Illinois pretty much all year long. So I got to just make a decision of whether or not I'm going to go against my picks, which I've done in the past. Shout out 2020 Coastal, and it's really bit me in the ass, or ride with a young quarterback and a home team in a Big Ten spot in Week 9. Jake.
I think somebody, Parks, you maybe have said it. This is obviously a big game for both teams. This just feels like a huge swing game for both of their seasons. Let's list out Illinois' next 4 opponents: Rutgers, Wisconsin, Maryland, Northwestern. Like, if Illinois wins this game, why can't Illinois go out and win 10 games? I don't see. Seems very winnable to me. And for Washington, pretty similar. You got Purdue at home, Wisconsin, UCLA, and then Oregon at home to end the year. Now, the Oregon game, you're a clear underdog in that one, but you get them at home, and who knows what might happen. So winner of this one feels like 10 wins is very much on the table if they can get it. So huge game for both of these teams. In both losses, Washington's offense has looked poor. Now, I know you're playing at Michigan and Ohio State, who's arguably the best defense in college football, but you can't go for less than 250 yards. And Illinois also outgained Ohio State, but like 3 turnovers turned into 3 scores for Ohio State. So Illinois doesn't turn the ball over much, but in their losses, they do. And I feel like if both teams take care of the football, this one's going to feel like more of a track meet, like the Illinois USC game was. But I'm waiting to see it, because I think one of these two teams is kind of get hit by the turnover bug. And I lean Illinois more because Washington's 9-1 at home under Jed Fish.
Yeah.
So we know the narrative about teams traveling west. It's going to be a tough task, but you mentioned it, Parks. Like, how many times can you doubt Brett Bielema as an underdog, just going on the road in that environment? He seems like the guy that could do it.
You said it right, where Washington's offense has really hurt them. But the reason they've still been in these games, and like the Michigan game last week, is their defense has been pretty exceptional, especially early in games. Like, I don't think Michigan had a first down in that game on third down. They didn't have a third down conversion until like a minute left in the second quarter. Like, Washington's defense has been good, especially up front, and their secondary has been pretty good throughout the season, and they've kept them in games. So getting them at home, you're going to need your best from Altmaier and crew. What do you think, JP?
Yeah, I think you guys have gotten around my points without like giving the exact stats here.
Sounds good.
Shout out phone. Yes, shout out the phone. When Washington wins football games, they're running the ball over 200 yards a game. In losses, it's less than 50. Obviously, you touched on that's been at Michigan and then Ohio State. Doesn't matter. That's still an important stat here, because if you're a good running team, that should be a part of your philosophy if it's that important to you. Another stat here, Illinois has been brutal on third down stops. Like 45% of third downs they face end up in offensive first downs. That is a big deal when you have a guy like Damon Williams under center who can consistently make plays and extend plays. So that's something to pay attention to, is if Illinois can get off the field, that changes and flips things. If not, it's going to be because of Williams's legs. Flip the side of that, Washington wasn't able to get a ton going. They're not known to be a very blitzing team. They're not going to get after you a ton, but they turned up the heat on Underwood last week, and it kind of bit them. Underwood kind of figured it out and started dumping things off. What has Altmaier been rough at throughout the years? It's under pressure. What can he do? It seems like he's gotten better to this point this year, but it's still not to the point where you'd hope a quarterback would be under pressure. How do his legs work? And then to add with that, you were talking about like Washington's been decent against the run. I think like with Illinois' struggles along the offensive line, I still think they have the ability to probably run the football. We get healthy along or in the backfield with Fagan and Valentine, both getting that bye week to get healthy. Now you get your top two running backs. Altmaier feels a little bit better. We know the struggles they've been through with the tough schedule to this point. There is just something here where you're looking at a team in Washington where it didn't work last week, but now we come back home and we got another chance to prove ourselves. In Illinois, you're like, all right, last time we went on the road against a team that's pretty darn good, we got our teeth kicked in. How does this really work out? So it's going to be intriguing. I think those are big pieces. Can Illinois get off the field on third down and avoid giving Damon Williams scramble time? And then can Washington slow the run game again and get some more pressure, because they were unsuccessful last week?
All right, let's go to picks in this marquee matchup. Illinois, obviously, big time spot for them, and see what they can do on the road in a very tough environment within the Big Ten. JP, who you got? Who are you taking against the spread? What do you got for a score prediction?
Yeah, I think the main thing I want to pay attention to here is that I am going to take Illinois. I'm going to take them outright even. I think that this is a place where both defenses have struggled traditionally, and both offenses have gotten in some battles here, higher scoring. So I'm going to go 30-24 Illinois. Run game gets a little bit better. We find ways defensively, even though with a banged up secondary, to make Washington one-dimensional. Damon Williams will get his. He'll make his plays. He'll get those third downs. But I'm going to take Bielema in the spot where they learned what happened in Bloomington and take it on the road in a really tough environment in Seattle and win.
I asked myself the question earlier on whether or not I was going to go against Illinois, because I haven't done it many times this year. I, for some reason, am getting the same feeling as I got last week. I was the only one on BYU for this spot for Washington. And I think just being at home in that environment, and I feel like there's also a plus for Washington not coming off of a bye. Sometimes I feel like that can kind of hurt a team when it comes to establishing yourself early, getting back into the swing of things. Washington's battle tested as the losses have come. Like Jake's told you about the two games they just had to face against the best defense at Ohio State, and then going on the road in the big house and against a young, talented quarterback. Like, I expect them to start this game with a little bit of a bang and get Illinois until they get back in the swing of things and maybe slow the game down a little bit. I think Washington does enough at the beginning of the game to get this one done. I feel like this could be a walk-off field goal situation. I just have this feeling that Washington gets this one done at home, and it's kind of similar to that BYU game last week for those reasonings. So I like that. I'm going to go with Williams and company. I like Washington this week. Jake.
It's funny when you asked me about score predictions, Parks, for these graphics last night. I was like, I hadn't done any research yet on this one. I'm like, on hindsight, I was like, I don't know. This one just feels like it's going to be slow, and both teams are going to try to figure each other out. It's going to be low scoring. But then I was like, I did my research. I'm like, I don't know. This feels like it's going to be up there if there's no turnovers. So let my score prediction, say for what it is. But I will take Washington at home.
Nothing does good for our show like telling you people that you did put no thought into throwing your score prediction that we're putting on the screen. Appreciate that.
Well, that was pre doing my notes. I do the work around here. That was just before I did the research. I will take Washington at home.
Get those predictions out early.
Yeah, well, I think their only loss at home was an Ohio State team that could win another national championship game. Like at home on the lake, this team is just different. I actually think they're going to be able to put up some points, and it's going to be like whoever just makes kind of like this one feels so similar to that Missouri Vanderbilt game, and where I feel like it's going to be down to the wire, and one of these quarterbacks is going to make that one mistake that just kind of costs them the game. I'm going to side with the home team capitalizing on the mistake, and I will take Washington.
All right, Reese.
You guys both took Illinois to cover, though. Just so we're
I was gonna preface after the show, Jordan.
Right now, too.
I was gonna preface after the show.
Okay,
I want Washington to cover the spread. If I'm gonna take,
I didn't send you any picks.
It's 4.5. It's 4.5.
Well, it's 4.5, and your score prediction is 24-23. So you're insinuating that Illinois is covering.
I guess I did right. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I don't think they win the game.
Heads up, boys.
Not against.
Everybody's got them. Just a heads up.
Yep. All right, Reese. Well, who do you got? You got Illinois. You riding with Washington on score prediction. What do you got?
Yeah, I kind of touched on it earlier, but I'm riding with the quarterback who's been in, and I'm going to take Altmaier in this spot. I think he goes in there. I think he's not going to make. We saw Williams. Yes, it was on the road last week, but he still kind of made a young quarterback mistake, and I still think there's a chance for that here. If Illinois has a chance to get up early, does DeMond try to force a ball somewhere that he shouldn't? Illinois takes it and capitalize on something. I'm going to take Altmaier in this spot. I think goes on the road. It's still a Brett Bielema coach football team. Discipline, sound football. We're all kind of in the same idea with our score. I think it's going to be a lot of slow it down. And then also, you still got Hank Beatty, who's a pretty good X factor for an Illinois teams, where if you're going to go win a football game on the road, he's going to be a factor too. So I'll take Illinois outright in this spot.
All right. 2-2 split on the score predictions and who's winning the game. However, Illinois across the board.
No. We're retracting that. I'm Washington's covering.
Okay.
Washington's covering.
Jake's flipping it mid-game. Love that. Great for the
check
show.
the Twitter.
Job,
hey, check the Twitter.
We got to get.
This will be an absolute. Go ahead.
We got to get better at that, because I feel like I've watched so many hype videos from different teams, and smaller programs, and even big programs that have included, some college football shows out there, and I'm just in my mind, and this may be completely just oblivious to the world and a little bit, I'm missing delusional, I should say. We're going to be in one of those. We got to get rid of sound bites like, I'm just kidding. I'm changing my opinion. We're never going to be on the hype video, Jake. We got to get on one of these damn hype videos.
I'd be honored to be on one of those and be proven wrong. I'd be honored.
I mean, too.
I feel like
use me as motivation.
The ultimate sit back and watch two quarterbacks make a ton of plays. That's what this is going to be. Jake said it's probably going to be a little more high scoring than what he has. I think my number's higher because I think Altmaier and Williams are going to make plays here. That's choose two gamers, man. And
I think these are all still. I think these are all still under the total. I'm pretty sure the total's at like 54.5, 56.5, somewhere up there.
54.5.
Yeah, JP would be just flirting with that. So JP's prediction is probably the closest, knowing what Vegas has done the last couple of weeks. But all right, that's the marquee matchup of the week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you joining us for this clip. If you're joining us still in the live show, drop your score prediction in the comments. Let us know what you think on that game. It's going to be a hell of a barn burner in the Big Ten. So make sure you tune into that one. All right, that's it for the Power 4 games we are going to cover this week. Let's go into our last preview of the week before we go to our brief roundtable that JP now gets to be a part of. Thank you, Wi-Fi. The G5 game of the week is not a surprise. It's going to be USF and Memphis. USF, a 4.5-point favorite on the road here against the Memphis Tiger team coming off of a, dare I say, bad loss. Still a very talented football team. Got a lot to prove against a really good USF team who's got college football playoff hopes on the line. G5 game of the week for the reason. Let's break this one down from the top. JP, why don't you do for us?
Yeah, obviously you dealt with some situations with Memphis losing last week at UAB, but Lewis sits day-to-day right now is what I saw. That's as of Wednesday night here. And it doesn't sound like it's going to be anything other than a game time decision. So he's going to be unprobable on all the reports. You're not going to know till whoever takes that first snap on Saturday. That's just kind of how everything's set. And Silverfield's kind of in the camp of I'm not telling you anything anyway. So something to pay attention to. His guy that came in though late in that one, AJ Hill, former 4-star kid, obviously worth the squeeze here. And just got thrown into a tough spot. That's a UAB team that was really looking for anything positive with the interim head coach, and then had a heck of a day for the offense. Quarterback really figured things out. 13-25 for 175, a touchdown and a pick was Hill. And I'm not even sure if he's going to be the guy that starts here, but I'm going to roll with him because he got most of the snaps last week. You need to be able to run the football if you are Memphis. That starts with DeRosier, starts with Sutton Smith. This is kind of where the offense is predicated around. And I think if you're looking at who Memphis has played and what they've dealt with, this is the best front they've seen in USF. This is clearly the best defensive front they've seen. USF currently sits 13th in success rate against the rush defensively and the 13th rush defense in some other thing. Like, it's better than it gets credit for. It's also one that's faced Florida. It's faced Miami. It's faced a Boise team that runs the football pretty darn well, and it's held their own in all those outside of the Miami game. So you need to keep the run game down and make this kid beat you through the year, because Memphis has popped through the year and it's only big plays, right? Like, this is what they do. It's 12 yards of completion when it happens. Their top two receivers in Branham and Hawking, both over 16 yards a reception. Limit the big play, go that way. Flip the thing there. There's a real chance that Byron Brown just continues to do what he does. You watch as like the North Texas game kind of took a little bit of time for him to get going. He didn't do it all by himself in that one, but he continues to lead the team with rushing and through the year, obviously passing. Taylor Green ate this Memphis team alive. Byron Brown's that kind of guy. So something to pay attention to. And what's the supporting cast for USF? Because I think it's a receiving core that doesn't get the love that they deserve.
I like that breakdown. I think you covered a lot of good assets there that were also on my list. So I'm trying to mentally spin off those. Jake, why don't you go first?
Yeah, you mentioned it, JP, that Memphis wants to run the football. Well, that just is predicated. They are good at it, but it's better when Brendan Lewis is on the field.
Yeah.
And that's just a huge deal. We know nothing around here. We don't have any sources for anything. I lean he's not
Another
playing.
Good point for our clips. Thank you, Jake. Go ahead.
We're honest. I'm more honest than anybody around here. I'm going to tell you the truth, but I feel like he's not playing. Like, if I had to take a guess on it, I bet there's 70% chance he's not playing this football game. And I think Vegas would tell you that if they had to put the spread there. So what does that mean really for Memphis? How can DeRosier and Sutton Smith, how can they run the football and create their own, I guess, integrity lanes? But AJ Hill is going to have to get off the mat and put up a better fight than what he did against UAB. For USF side of things, this might be the fastest offense in college football. And Memphis defends the run really well for the most part, but they were just super susceptible to the pass against FAU, against UAB, against Arkansas. And when you get a guy like Byron Brown rolling, it's going to be really hard to stop. And then on top of that, he's probably going to beat you with his legs after he's top 10 and I think yards per completion. So he's just super, experienced at all these explosive plays. And then when you're not looking, that's when he beats you with his legs.
For all the points just mentioned, I guess I should just kind of simplify what I think everybody would agree with. And it's a matchup issue with your quarterback being out, especially if you're Memphis. South Florida defends the rush incredibly well. They're top 30 in college football and doing so, only giving up 110 per game on the ground. Memphis wants to run the football. That's with their starting quarterback in the mix. So if you're forced to get them out of what they've been successful doing this year and what's put them in this spot, it can get ugly. And USF is a team, and I've used this word a couple of times in these previews tonight, is battle tested. They've played games, tough games on the road in situations, and it almost feels like they're so confident in what they're doing that they're like in that LeBron mode of like, we're just trying shit. Like they're onside kicking up up 21 points in the third quarter against teams. And it feels like they're prepared for this spot. They played in a tough, sold-out environment at North Texas, which Jake mentioned. So give me Byron Brown. I'm not betting against Alex Golesh and the Bulls, especially in a team coming off a loss against a mid at best UAB team. That's not like what the best we've seen from UAB. Riding with the confident team right now. Give me USF. Reese.
Yeah, I'm looking at all these head coaching vacancies becoming open, and I'm looking at a guy that everybody wants right now, and Alex Golesh. And I think this offense you could talk about is just clicking. Byron Brown, 99 carries on this offense. That's more than double the next closest guy at 44. They kind of got a three-headed beast back there to kind of complement Brown as well, too. But Nimrod and Singleton out wide, too. Like, this offense is just clicking. We talked about, like, that game against North Texas was going to be close, and then it wasn't. So I think this is a spot, too, where you talked about Memphis. They still gave up 31 to a UAB team who has not looked good. Like, yeah, you compete at the end, but 31 points to that offense compared to this USF offense you're about to go see, like, this is probably the best they've been compared to that Arkansas team with Taylor Green. So I think Byron Brown and them going in this spot, I think it's the Bulls all day here.
All right.
There's also just positivity wise, like I feel like we haven't given like Memphis a fair shake here.
Oh,
like there's a world, there's a world in which they get the passing game figured out, and they just rely on what teams
getting a week to prepare rather than just throwing them in the middle of the game last week. Yeah, there's definitely a real thing.
Well, and you can get South Florida through the air. Like, they are gettable. And if they're not getting turnovers, they are very gettable. So you can sustain things, and you don't have to be elite on the ground, but maybe we open it up in short passing game to open up the run game, and then we pop a couple over the top. Because if they hit the big ones and they got the whole environment on their side, things change quick.
All right. That wraps up the G5 game of the week. Let's go to picks on this one. You got Memphis, you got South Florida, you taking the spread, you taking the points with the Bulls battle-tested team, or are you taking a talented Memphis team that maybe the college football world will be put on notice about this week? JP.
I'll take South Florida here. I think they're the best team in the G5 right now. That's
like
not
that
a knock
quick
against
positive
Memphis.
note,
It's just
and then your pick.
I felt like it's
give them their flowers. Give them their flowers.
65-54. Like, this is going to be high scoring and a ton of fun. But I do think they're the best team in the G5 right now.
All right. I like that. I gave my pick away earlier. Give me the Bulls. Battle tested. Byron Brown, it's enough for me. Give me on the road. Alex Golesh, one of the better coaches in the G5, if not the best. Jake.
USF's been just tested in so many spots. You just said it. Like, it reminds me, they went to North Texas. They sold out that place. They were rocking, ready for it. Friday night, and USF just absolutely depantsed them in the second half.
63-piece.
Next point.
So I know Memphis is going to have – they got an awesome crowd. They got an awesome fan base, and I bet that place will be rocking. This team is different at home. But this USF team, not only are they just built for it, they got the dudes for it. Like, JP mentioned it pretty boldly that he thinks that this will be the best defensive line Memphis has seen all year. They've played Arkansas. And I agree with JP. Like, I think USF's defensive line is actually that good, and they've got that many dudes. So it's – if we're getting into a track race here, I just don't see Memphis coming out the other side, especially with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, it almost is a similar thing to that North Texas game. Like we said, track race, North Texas, lots of points, and USF did what they did.
Yeah, USF's like, okay,
yeah,
we'll do that.
We have weapons as well. Reese, you're on the Bulls. Give us one key reason why.
Like I said, this is a coach where you look at everybody wants him next year. Like, this is a spot where you got to go and you got to win a football game, because if I'm going to go to an SEC or a Big Ten job or whatever, like, you got to go in and win on the road in environments when you're supposed to win. This is a spot where USF has to go in there, and Byron Brown is that guy. Shout out JT. I'll take the Fighting Golishes.
All right, yeah. But you mean Oklahoma State head coach Alex Golesh? I'm just kidding, USF fans. Don't come for us in the comments. But let us know your score prediction in here if you're a G5 fan or a fan of these two programs on this YouTube clip. Appreciate you joining us. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, as we will cover the G5 all season long. All right, that's it for previews this week. We're going to go to a brief roundtable before we go to our best bets and dog of the week. JP came up with this, but before we do so, we want to remind you to shop our great partner over at No Rivals. You see that NR in the corner of the screen? That's our great partner over at No Rivals. We got caps across the board tonight. I love it for the branding, gentlemen. Got the Iowa cap on from JP. I'm rocking the SMU, Colorado State. Big time move this week that we've all been waiting for.
I put the hat back on just for a special occasion.
Yeah, Colorado State, big
for
time
his boy,
move this week.
follow.
And then Reese with the Triangle Game Cap Collection on. Make sure you shop today. ShopNoRivals.com. Use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping on your brand new best hat in collegiate sports. Shout out No Rivals. ShopNoRivals.com today. All right, JP, floor is yours. What the hell are we talking about here?
I'll go pretty quick here. I'm going to take the Dakota marker. We're going to go 1 versus 2 in the FCS, South Dakota State, North Dakota State. Just talk about this really quickly. Chase Mason, quarterback.
Viber Curley.
Yes, Chase Mason is questionable for this one, South Dakota State starting quarterback. They haven't really popped offensively this year. They've struggled through the air. They've struggled on the ground. This will be, I know a guy.
I know.
This is a really good North Dakota State defense. It's also the best offense in the FCS that North Dakota State's rocketing. Cole Payton's the leader for the Walter Payton Award right now. But this is the best defense they'll see in the Jacks. So what's the piece here? I think it's 4.5-point favorite are the Bison on the road. So it's going to be a really good one. Tune into that. I think it's ESPNU. Can South Dakota State slow down an explosive Bison offense? And then is there a world that South Dakota State figures things out and comes in with a healthy quarterback and a chance to win this thing?
Obviously, after being in the area, you kind of get a feel for this game, and everybody and their mom feels like they're going to this one, which is it's awesome for the sport, and everybody's pretty pissed that game day's not going there. I would say that game day did it like 3 years ago, so I'm not all that surprised that they're going there when
next decade.
When they're going to Vandy. This one feels like South Dakota State feels more tested because they've obviously went on the road. They played Montana State. They didn't play. None of these teams played an FBS school, so there's not like a benchmark to really measure.
Nobody
this
wants
on.
to play them.
But they went to Montana State. They battled with Youngstown. It feels like North Dakota State really hasn't played anybody yet. And the other thing I would say will even go even lower level than FCS. Like, guys, doesn't this just feel like Northwestern Morningside within the GPAC where like they're just beating on all of these teams and you're like, none of it matters.
Just waiting for them to play each other.
Yeah, these two teams just have to play each other. And now South Dakota is just awful this year. So now it's really just down to these two football teams. So
shout out to the NAIA though. Last week, that was a hell of a game last week. Took a block field goal. Northwestern upset Morningside.
14,
He's right. If you're not an NAIA football guy, he's damn right. Look it up.
So it seems very similar vibes, and I'm sure these two teams will meet in Frisco again if that's where if they play that in the national championship, if that's where they're playing it this year.
All right, I'll flip the page. I'll go to the next game, and this is a game I was kind of I don't want to say upset, but I was a little bit itchy about talking about. I wish we would have talked about the Sunflower Showdown this week in the new David Booth Stadium over at Kansas.
Might talk about that one later.
2.5-point spread. All right, little teaser. Half of a new one. Yeah, new soccer lights up on that stadium. It does look good. It's been pretty packed throughout the season. Kansas has struggled. It's a team coming off of a bye week. And like I just gave in an earlier preview where Illinois is coming off of a bye, does that benefit Kansas State, who's coming off a nice win against TCU? And we saw a little bit of the flashes of what we thought maybe they could be in the Big 12 this year last week. So are they a more confident team at the moment? Who knows? I mean, Kansas has still been pretty explosive offensively outside of that Texas Tech game. The scheme Leipold's got dialed up over there. They've been really, really consistent on the offense side of the ball. So we'll see if Kansas State can come up with the stops. But wherever we game, gents, right? We can go anywhere we want with this game. And it's only a 2.5-point spread for this K-State team that everybody's pretty much written off in their mind after week 4. So I like this game. I think you got to tune into TNT or HBO Max on 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. Any thoughts on that matchup from the panel on this roundtable?
Just feels like this is supposed to be Kansas time. What have they lost? 15 in a row?
Yeah,
this is unbelievable, man. And it feels like this is the one they're supposed to win. K-State's had the struggles. I feel like the power ratings haven't adjusted for Kansas State the last 2 or 3 games, man. Like they should have won at Baylor. Like this team really should be undefeated in Big 12 play before the Iowa State game. Like the Big 12 games that they've played have been really, really good. And it's just like, this is supposed to be Kansas's time. And I've been there. Like as an Iowa State fan, like you feel it. You lose to your rival so many years in a row. Like to get over that hump, it just takes so many mistakes and a ball bouncing your way. And I don't know. I don't know where you're going with your pick later, Reese, but I sure hope it's not Kansas.
Yeah, it makes me feel. We're Kansas guys on this show. We stick up for Kansas and what they are and what they've become, and a little bit of the 07 maybe nostalgia in our minds. But this just screams K-State, Avery Johnson win here, and like another year of Kansas State fans just beating up on Kansas fans saying wait for basketball. Reese, any thoughts on that game, or you just want to save it for your pick? It's cool.
We're saving it for my pick.
Okay, I like that. All right. Any other games from the roundtable before we go to those picks that we want to touch on? There's a lot out there.
I mean, LSU. I'll throw this out there: LSU, A&M, or
Great
Oklahoma,
game.
Ole Miss. Either
How about
one of
A&M
those.
last week, man?
Any
Giving up
thoughts?
their points. LSU.
I would say, yeah, like
I think
the
it was
line
more
stinks.
It was more of a credit to A&M last week. The lightning delay, rivalry game on the road. Texas or Arkansas's offense is actually like legit.
Are you saying the A&M line stinks?
They are. I think it's a big time confidence builder this week with what LSU's offense has been. But also on the flip side, like LSU's offense wasn't incompetent on the road at Vanderbilt, but it could be a confidence builder to get back in the swing of things if you're Mike Elko's crew with LSU offense. And Aggie Land's going to be ready to go.
It's LSU.
No Whit Weeks again. No Whit Weeks again.
No Whit Weeks. Okay, I didn't know if he was playing or not. That was
if he was, he'd probably be yakking.
In Death Valley,
puking on the field. Yeah,
psychopath.
All right,
I would just say
games?
No, just to like rebuttal on those two. Like, we're not covering it here on this show because it gets every cover ever on any show you ever turn on. Like, we'll turn on halftime at CUSA games and we'll be shoved with this, so we didn't cover it that way. The Oklahoma line is interesting. I think that they're for a weird awakening. I feel like Kiffin's going to have some stuff schemed up in the run game. Yeah, that's a really good defense, but they'll find a way to score some points. Chambliss was great last week on the road. And then, yes, Reese, that line does stink. A&M feels like they're 6 points better than LSU, but you play the 3 or 4 for being at home there. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Yeah, like, again, nobody's safe. So you can't just, like, lock in A&M as a check mark on that one.
College football in week 9. What the hell's going on?
I will say, like, I love that point on Ole Miss, JP, because I think, like, Trinidad is for real. Like, I don't know if he's an NFL prospect or whatever, but the stat on he played in front of 70,000 total people last year in his time at Ferris State, and he played in front of 95,000 last Saturday at Sanford Stadium. And he went out there, man, and they scored every possession in the first half. Like, they couldn't get off the field. Like
5 straight.
Yeah, we love our small school shout outs around here, obviously, but it feels like he's buckled up to go. Now, Oklahoma's defense is probably better. It's not even probably. It is better than Georgia to this point. But at home, like, it's at home, right? Or is this one in Norman?
It's in Norman.
I don't know. I still think Ole Miss is Lane's coaching ability feels like it just keeps taking another step year after year. And I think he's ready for a game like this.
It does feel like it's taking that step because that game, I thought Ole Miss, there was points in that game where I was like, damn, this Ole Miss team is way better than like the typical Ole Miss teams I'm watching, just get run all over in these games. So I think you're right there. JP, I want to go before we kind of cut off the game previews. I know you wanted to talk about our fan perspective, our teams within the show. That's Iowa State, Iowa, Nebraska. What were we talking about? Or was I far off and reading the group chat there?
A part of what?
As you were saying, these fan bases were coming at each other on X.
Oh, yeah.
Where these games are. You wanted to bring that up or what? It's our show.
No,
we can do whatever we want.
I'm just
Jay Bird's
saying,
in the comments, Iowa State guy.
It's a real thing. Like, we're tweeting about, like, just Iowa football accounts are just tweeting things, and we're just getting bombarded by bye-week blues and L on Friday night. It's all it was. That was half of my feed was not even Iowa fans replying to Iowa tweets. It was Iowa State fans looking for something to talk about after
let's
2
be
straight
very
losses.
Clear.
In Nebraska,
Majority of
straight
Nebraska tweets or Iowa State tweets, the first people in the comments are Iowa fans.
Not like this. Not like this. This was
everybody's fan base is just as bad as each other. What you guys
I know, but I'm saying this was like immediate. This was like, oh my God, you beat a team with no wins in the Big Ten. It's like you don't want to acknowledge that they came out swinging and played good football, and we don't win football games like that. No, all right.
JP, that was a sick fake handoff, though. That was a sick fake handoff.
Also, I don't think Reese understands football at this point in time. The bootleg where he's the only one that knows he's pulling the boot is
he sold it pretty well.
He sold it pretty well. Yeah, that's what we talking about. Peyton Manning did that shit, and it was gross then too. I don't.
That's what I literally. That's literally what I said. You're bringing up my point. I literally said Peyton Manning did that shit. I literally said the same thing. I said Peyton Manning did the same thing.
Reese, I need you to go look at how many times people have tried that and it's gotten blown up in their face. It's not a very high success rate when people do that kind of stuff. So yes, it was a filthy and a ballsy play call by Tim Lester.
You know what I would ask?
Yes, go ahead. I have a question as well for Jordan.
No, you go, because this is just a point I want to make, and it's unrelated to any of these things.
And this is a serious question, and it's not meant to be a shot at all, but I've seen the narrative out there, obviously. You've seen all the BS around Iowa, and they're not playing beating a team that has a conference win on their schedule. But on the flip side, Mark Gronowski hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since UMass, which was early September. Does that worry you going into the games that they have to finish the season?
It always does. I've been vocal about he's missed guys that are schemed open. He's missed the throws.
I thought the 2-point conversion was one of them that he missed, honestly.
The first one, not as much. The second one was wide ass open. The second one was open. He also missed a couple corner routes in that game, which is, that's just the honesty of the whole thing. And so, but he also ran for 130. He was nails. The one pick he threw hit off a guy's freaking chest plate, catch the football one time. He's been better. And also, we've had bad quarterback play to the points where you would never seen depth so low. So I can be happy about a guy running for 7 touchdowns and playing really well. So that's how it is. I'm not saying he's going to win the Heisman, but we've won games with fucking
snickering smile. Look at that smile.
No, it's funny. I'll flip it to you, Parks. I got to ask this because I texted this JP Friday.
Come on, we're going to JP now. All right, go ahead.
I texted JP this. I go, does Raiola hold on to the ball longer than James Harden? Or is it because I hear it's an offensive line issue, and I'm like, yeah, maybe for the last
it's a little bit of an offensive line issue.
It was him holding on to the ball too long, and then it turned into an offensive line issue. I thought the first 5 sacks, I'm like, you're just asking for it at this point. And then the offensive line kind of cratered as he's starting to get a little more nervous in the pocket, because you take that many sacks, it dogs on you mentally.
That's exactly what I would say. It's an offensive line issue. Don't get me wrong. We had an offensive lineman ejected. We had our starting offensive lineman go down on the first play of the game.
Crazy.
So you got a couple of fits in there, and then they start getting blown up, and backers completely missing. Our running backs completely blew assignments on some blocks. But it's a little bit of both. But I think it's a bigger part of once you go down that first 4 or 5 times, the pocket awareness you maybe came into the game with, what you expected them, starts to break down in your mind. And at some point, you saw one of them, he just went into the fetal position. He didn't even get hit. He just knew that he was coming on the backside because it had happened 8 times in that game. It's a massive issue. And the mental drain is definitely starting to take its point. I drove 6 hours to watch 6 points, gents.
You watched more sacks than points.
I did. I definitely did. And it was another national spotlight embarrassment that just can't happen. But hey, the rule rumors should be done. I guess. Right?
You don't want them anymore.
Yeah, they wouldn't have taken him in the first place. I was never on that train, but feels like those are wrapping up.
See, this is related to the rule thing. Did you see the Vitello hire and all the Twitter accounts from faking things Vitello said to keep the Giants from hiring him? Yeah.
How about the one where he was
wear his
hugging
mask? He doesn't wear his mask. You don't want him in San Francisco. Just making all this stuff up.
You gotta preface this, Race or JP. People don't watch baseball. You gotta let us know what we're talking about. This is the Tennessee.
People watch. It's coming from the NBA fan, but go ahead, JP. You can give it a preface.
I'm just
exactly James Harden reference in here.
Everybody knows
This is probably top 4, top 5 college baseball coach in the country. Just got hired on.
Probably not
the Giants head coach. Vitello has been pretty damn good, and it's just a guy he screams college baseball, so it was a little bit stunner to see him go to the MLB. But all the Vols fans finding things and just saying he doesn't tuck his kids in at night. You don't want him, sir. Just making all this stuff up is what Nebraska's going to start doing.
I will tell you, I received some text on Friday night that were not shareable. There was a couple of them that had some merit to them, but there's somebody that made a long list of what's happened since Rule was hired that would not be appealing on a resume for a job like Penn State, I would say. So it's something that I'm tired of doing that. I don't want to do that anymore. I was literally on the way down to Minneapolis. I was talking to my wife. I was like, next year we play in Eugene. I'd love to get up and see the Oregon area and experience a game like that. But I don't know if this program is to a point where we can spend the money and go up to that game because we'd be a 17.5 point underdog. After that game, it was really to be maybe we postpone that.
Do they play Oregon State next year? They go out to Corvallis.
Maybe Washington, and we can drive up through you. Like,
they're in Evanston.
Oregon. Yeah. So no, it's definitely taken its mental toll on both my wallet and my mental stability.
I can't believe what the wife say, or how'd the wife react when you took her. I didn't know she was going along in this one.
Yeah, she went up there with me. She's a trooper. It was either I was going alone or she was coming with me. So she likes to travel. I did a really good job patting myself on the back on keeping my cool. Like I did.
There you go. Look at you. Look how grown up you are.
Yeah, I just needed like a 15-minute, and it's also Minnesota. Like the people who sat behind us, we were sitting very close to the student section, which, by the way, they made this is what pissed me off the most. They announced the attendance for the game in Minneapolis, 48,500. We should never fucking lose to a team that has 48,000 seats in their stadium. Let me be very clear. Nebraska should never lose to a team like that.
Did you hear
so much louder on TV than it was in the game? Like there were points where I was sitting next to my wife, just having a conversation with her on third down for Nebraska. Like you could totally hear it. It was not loud at all. It was terrible environment, worst concession food ever. I could go all night.
If we had Minnesota subscribers, they're gone now.
Did you? But stay for the fan perspective. We brought on Daniel House.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you hear the "Who hates Iowa? We hate Iowa" chant that they love doing?
Oh yeah, that's a bad video. That's a tough look as well.
Oh, it's
I did make Minnesota fans behind me aware that Nebraska has not received a holding call. When we're on defense, an offense in the Big Ten has not gotten a holding called on them in our last 26 Big Ten conference games. So there were like 3 straight flags on Minnesota when they were on offense, and they were like, there it is. And they were cheering. They're like, this is going to be your holding. And I was like, no, it's not. It was offsides, illegal hand to the face, and a PI. And I was like, I told you, this doesn't happen. I think a majority of the texts that I received that were unshareable were about the
Roundtable, boys. Roundtable. Here we go.
I should share this story. JP would enjoy
this. You lost in Boulder too. Talk about that. How was the fans?
I'll share this one. Well, so we sat in the Iowa State section, so we didn't really. I heard I heard they were assholes as far as like what I've listened to, but I didn't really run into them. Funny enough, like I'll just say it, like Chris Williams was sitting a row away from me, and he was talking about how all these Colorado fans were on him, and I didn't personally hear him, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, so we're sitting there, and obviously the pass interference or picked up pass interference happens. You know what I'm talking about? And I just sit down because I go, they're picking up the flag. They're picking up the flag. I just sit down. And I'm this nice old lady. We'd gotten to chat, and she's very, very nice lady, but she was into the game. Boy, she was into the game. And I think she travels for a lot of these games.
Hell yeah.
And she's like, she said something like, they're going to pick it up. They always do. They always do. And my dad goes behind. He's like, no, they're not. Like that was complete pass interference. Sure enough, they pick it up, and this old lady goes, I fucking told you, they always do this. They always do this. Like,
I love that.
Fans are the biggest, like, refs are against us in the world, and I don't blame them on some things, but that to see that, like, in interaction in person was like, okay,
there.
It's time to leave.
Yeah.
I think we need to leave.
Yeah, that's no, it's good. I mean, that's what college football is all about, baby. It's traveling fan bases and just getting absolutely let down. But what did you think of Folsom overall? Yes, GA, they're always coming for us. They're always coming for us. Everybody. We got
to get some best bets here. We got to get some best bets. We're coming up on hour 20. We haven't even talked dogs.
Yeah.
Well, hold on quickly. I need a Folsom review. Are the steps still roughed out like Mater?
It's like it's historic for a reason. Like that's what you get when you go there. Like I thought it was fine.
Historic of what? Historic of what?
They call it historic Folsom Field. They don't touch it apparently, except changing the turf field, which is fine. But it was a decent stadium.
Field. They don't touch
it's not one of my favorites I've ever been to, but it was fine. Like it was decently loud at times, and it wasn't they
try not to just keep bashing them.
No, the mountain view was behind you then, right? If you were in the visitor section?
I did not see the mountains. They were to my back.
That's the best part. That's the best part. Don't let it tell you any different. That is what makes the stadium, I've heard. So, all right, let's leave that there. You had to talk on the fan perspectives and a couple of losses while we were traveling for our teams. Let's go to best bets and the dog's dog to wrap up tonight's show. Let's start it off with the dog's dog. Last week, good week for the show. Not a great week for your host, Parks, but we had a couple of covers and a couple outright winners. This is a very important segment. Who do you feel good about this week? as an underdog. There's a lot of options, a couple of maybe confusing Vegas spreads. Who do you feel good about, JP?
Yeah, I got beat by a hook last week with USC and Notre Dame. I'm going to go with Illinois. We covered this game. It's the first time I've gone with a game we've broken down on the show. I'll take Illinois plus the 4.5, looking to go outright with the Illini.
All right. I should do a brief recap. Illinois first off the board for this week, but last week, the recap of the Dog's Dog, Reese loss did not hit with Syracuse.
Wait,
I'm sorry. Loss. Wrong week. JP Reese win. Sorry. Ohio State team total over 33.5. That one by the hook, Reese, baby. 34-0, but you still count that. JP W. I'm doing Breen best bets.
Yeah, I'd say you're doing best.
I was about
bets.
to say. We're good. Regroup.
This is the worst production we've ever had.
I'm out.
Jaybird, GA, let us know. Drop in like YouTube comments. This show is not usually that bad. Resetting mentally. Reese wins on Mississippi State plus 9.5 at Florida. They cover that. Myself, I took BYU. They cover and won outright. JP lost with USC on the hook. Jake covers with Arkansas plus 7.5 against A&M. Yes. That is what actually happened. JP's first pick off the board this week, Illinois. Jake, what is yours?
Yeah, in the famous words, of course, Coach Corso, give me that head. Fired coaches are 6-1 against the 6-1 against the spread. We're going border war. I'm taking Colorado State plus 4.5 in this one.
Oh my God, that is a greasy pick. All right, Reese.
You fire the coach, you play better. That's how it works.
Give us yours, Reese.
You boys talked about it before, and here we go. It's a spot where they're supposed to win, but guess what? Sometimes some teams just beat others in college football. I'm going K-State plus the 3 on the road at Kansas.
Where'd you see 3? I was thinking that pick too, but I like that pick a lot.
It's on DK right now, plus 3.
Okay, so I probably would have taken that one if I saw that line, but that is a damn good pick. I'm very back and forth flirting with this one, so I'm just going to roll it out. I'm going to take Mississippi State plus 7.5 at home against Texas this week. I really like this line because I think Texas is still struggling offensively. They got into a dogfight for a while with Kentucky, and I think Mississippi State is a better team this year. Like overall, I think if you watch them, they've been in a lot of close games. They're tested for this game. I don't know if they win it, but I feel really good about that hook with it. So 7.5 plus 7.5 for Mississippi State. I like that bet a lot. All right, best bet time. Let's see if I can recap the correct list here. Last week, Reese win Ohio State team total over 33.5. They won 34-0. Myself, Buffalo minus 16. They lost, but they won the football game. If you got to watch that one, that was unbelievable.
Yeah. Win the game.
UMass was waving by. I was like, man, at least they won a game. I'm not going to win my bet. Nope, they did not win the game.
Couldn't get a first down.
Still winless, and I did not win my bet. JP win on Ohio State minus 24.5 versus Wisconsin. Easy win there. Jake, another win. Ohio State minus 24.5 versus Wisconsin. Absolute bullshit. We let him take that because we don't do duplicate picks.
Yeah,
he wasn't here and he didn't listen.
That would have been my third straight week of my pick getting taken again. So why don't you all stop taking my picks?
Why don't you go first, Jacob?
Winners.
I mean, nobody took it this week. Maybe they're not.
There's so many good bets this week. Go ahead and take it. We don't care.
Do not touch mine.
I like a couple. I'll throw this one to you guys at the end. We'll save this one for the end. But I'm going to take the Hogs, basically just to win the football game, minus 1.5. Coach Petrino's got to win 1. And I think Auburn doesn't know who they want to play at quarterback. They're not going to be able to keep up with Arkansas's offense. It's kind of like the NFL where like the great offense is always going to outduel the great defense, I feel like. And that's kind of the case with me. Like I know Auburn's got a good defense, but I trust Arkansas to go out there and score points with Taylor Green. And on the flip side, like I know Arkansas's defense is bad, but Auburn's offense probably worse. So Hugh Freeze, final game, curtain call. See, don't get on the tarmac in Fayetteville.
All right, I'm going to go next. I don't think I'm going to take anybody's pick. Give me Southern Miss. I'm taking 10.5. I want 10.5. It's 11.5 right now, but when I wrote this down, 10.5 at home against Louisiana Monroe. Louisiana Monroe's offense has been stagnant as can be as of late, only putting up 16 points a game this season. They want to slow it down. Southern Miss getting this game in Hattiesburg is a great spot for them, in my opinion, to cover this number. I think they're going to just take care of business. This is kind of that back half of where we usually see ULM struggle in their normal schedule, and they lost all those weapons, and they've struggled offensively this entire season because of it. So give me Southern Miss minus a 10.5 is my best bet of the week. Reese.
Yeah, we're going to go with one that's a clean sweep for all of us before. I don't care. That's how good I feel about this one. JP had to give them their flowers just because USF all day. The Fighting Galicious minus the 4.5 on the road against Memphis. I think it's Byron Brown all day, every day there.
All right, JP, wrap things up for us. Give us your best bet of the week.
I got two here, and for the purposes of this show, I'm going to push one to the side, but I think it's the one I like more. Lay 'em with the Pokes, 4.5. Wyoming is going to find a way to just keep beating a bad football team.
You kidding
Give
me?
me Wyoming minus 4.5.
On our show?
I had him. It's right
On
here.
our show.
It's right here. I have it written down.
Head to head.
Minus 4.5.
6-1.
Wyoming.
Coaches, ATS, JP. 6-1. Stats don't lie. Get the cancer
fine.
out of the building.
That's fine. Hey, even the best lose, 40% of the time. So maybe I'm in that 40%. Find a way. Pokes.
Oh my God. All right. That was a crazy bet to end the night show.
No.
Go ahead.
What if I throw you this one? You guys tell me how crazy this one would
I was
be.
taking two. Go ahead.
I've been pondering it. No, it's a parlay. It's a 3-teamer. Well, I guess
It's a parlay.
It's a 3-leg same game. Oregon minus 19.5 first half spread. Over 43.5 total. Oregon's at least getting 45 points. And then Oregon minus 32.5 full game. Oregon wins this one at least.
Are you doing again?
No, this is no teaser. This is all like Oregon wins 45-0 and all of those cover.
I was about to say, if you weren't here last week, but I talked about the exact same thing last week with Ohio State take the over, take their team total, and then take first half or whatever it was.
Why are they only
it was a total over?
32.5 at home.
Vegas knows more than us.
They didn't last week. We were like, why is it 24.5?
This is the other best bet I had. Do you guys like over 52.5 Vandy, Missouri? Because I kind of think it's going to be high scoring, high flying. Not as much.
I like that.
That's all.
I wouldn't say I love it. I'd say I don't even know if I lean it. I'd say I think it'd be right around it. I don't think it's yes, obviously take it.
I could see a 31-24 again, like a repeat score for Vanderbilt. That's kind of where I see that game at.
That would be over, right? Because you said 52.5.
Yeah, so I said yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't think you can say you love it with the 4
I
years.
don't love it, no.
All right, that's everything. That's tonight's show. We covered a lot. Best bets, dog's dog. We previewed the 4 matchups, including our G5 game of the week. Make sure you smash the subscribe button on the YouTube if you're a BYU listener joining us for the first time. Appreciate you being here. Go Cougs. They're 7-0. Hopefully they don't win this weekend against Jake Cyclones. Check out our fan perspectives live on our YouTube right now. We love you. Hit the follow button. All platforms at Play the Fight Pod. Shop No Rival. Shop Frost Buddy. We'll see you next week. Jake, take it away.
1,600 and counting, gentlemen. Let's play it.